Good day and welcome to another installment of Aviate Higher. Today I want to discuss something that affects all of you. Understanding how to use your Navaids properly. Whether it's a VOR, VOR DME, or VOR-TAC. Typically we don't use ADFs anymore. So we're going to be focusing today on VOR, DME, and VOR-TACs and how to use them with the equipment that you have in your aircraft and using your OBS. So what we have here in this first diagram that I drew here on the whiteboard is something that I want you to write down on a piece of paper. Excuse me. Write down on a piece of paper and have it for you readily available to you so that once we go over to this chart and diagram that you'll be able to use it correctly and easily. And I'll show you how the two work together. So first off, this diagram here, you can see has 8 different OBS indications. And I'm just going to label them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can see these 3 up here have a from indication. So this one here in number 1 would be a OBS indication of a right deflection with a from needle, or from indication with a right deflection. This one would be a center needle with a from flag. This one would be a left deflection with a from flag. Number 4 would be a right deflection with the area of ambiguity flag. There is none here in the center because that represents your nav aid that you have dialed in to your navigational frequency. Here would be a left deflection with the area of ambiguity flag. It's neither from nor to, but it's when you're getting that to from flag flip. That's would be directly 90 degrees perpendicular to the radial that you've dialed in. And we'll talk about that more in a few minutes. Next, number 6, we have a to flag with a right deflection. Number 7, to flag with a center deflection or center needle. And then number 8 is going to be a left deflection with a to flag. Now what I want you to understand this is just the indications that you can receive when tuning in a specific radio. So think of this diagram here and being able to photocopy it, print it off, however you want to say it, 360 different times. Excuse me. So this represents, as we're seeing right here, this could be for radio 001. This could also be for radio 002, 003, 004, 005, all the way around the compass, all the way to radio 360. And that's what we're looking at here. So I could take this diagram and reproduce it 360 times. This diagram has nothing to do with north, south, east, west currently. It's just the radio that we have dialed in to our OBS indicator. Good. Now that we have an understanding of this, and rewind it if you didn't catch any of the beginning parts, 100 times, 10 times, whatever it takes. But very simply, this is just a diagram that we're drawing on a piece of paper, and we're going to put it and overlay it onto our map here. So as we take this diagram and we overlay it on our map, the map is always going to be north up for what we are attempting to accomplish today. So I have our OBS, we have our Navaid here. And for this diagram here, 1 is going to represent the northwest quadrant of whatever Navaid it is. Anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world, technically. So 1, 2 would be north of the Navaid. And you may hear me say VOR, VOR, DME, VOR-TAC, whatever, in lieu of the word Navaid. But it all means the same thing when I'm talking about in this classroom setting this morning or today. Number 3, as you see, north up is going to be in the northeast quadrant. Number 4 is going to be west of the Navaid. Number 5 is east of the Navaid. Number 6, southwest of the Navaid. Number 7, south of the Navaid. And number 8 is going to be southeast of the Navaid. So let's take an example for a moment here, and we're just going to say that your OBS indication has, you've dialed in let's keep it simple for now. You've dialed 360 into your OBS indicator. That gives you a centered needle with a 2 flag. So now you need to figure out where you are geographically. So now that we've dialed in 360, we're going to come over to our chart here, and 360 with a 2 and a center needle, we're going to see where are the 2 indications. So we see 2, the 3 indications down here give us a 2 flag. We have a center needle, so we're going to be here number 7. Now that we know that we're number 7 on our diagram, we're going to come over to our north up map. And we need to figure out where is the 360 radial actually located on our map with respect to our Navaid. Well, as we know, the 360 radial is going to come straight up, straight north off of the Navaid. So this is the radial coming off here. Well, since that's the case and we know number 7 is right here, then we can just transpose this picture onto this map, and we will know in this example here that 7 equals 7. So that would tell us that this means geographically we are right here. We are south of the Navaid. Wherever that is, we're somewhere south of the Navaid with the radial that we have tuned in. Now, same thing. Let's just change that 2 to a from flag. I'm using FM as a shorthand for from. So from center needle, 360. So we come to from indications. There they are. We have 3 options. We have a center needle, so we know it's going to be number 2. Once again, since 360 is straight up from the Navaid, we're going to take this and we're going to overlay it once again, and we're going to know that we're in quadrant 2 of the north up map. Since we're number 2, that means we are north of the Navaid, whatever we have tuned in. Give me a moment. Good. Everything should be still seen. All right. Now let's get a little tricky. Now we're going to switch it around. This time, we're going to put 180 into the OBS with a 2 flag. So first thing we do, we take this OBS indication and we need to figure out where it is on our cheat sheet here. So we see 2 flag. So 2 flag means one of these indications down here, center needle. So we know that this is represented by number 7. Well, we don't just automatically come over here and say, well, we're right here again, because obviously we're not, because we have a different radial tuned in. Remember what I said a few moments ago is this cheat sheet, this diagram that I drew here, can be represented by any of the 360 different radials. So when we take this and transpose this, we're actually going to have to take it, pick it up, and flip it 180 degrees. So now our radial is, the 180 radial, is right here. So since this radial is right here, and we know that we're number 7, radial being here, we need to take this up, pick it up, flip it around. Now, number 7 on my cheat sheet is going to be number 2 on north up map. So this indication in my OBS inside my aircraft as I'm flying around would let me know, based on this, that I'm somewhere north of the Navaid. Now I know that may be a little tricky, but stick with me for a moment. Now we're going to take this same thing and we're going to switch it to a from flag. Once again, FF, shorthand for from. So we have 180 from with the center needle. So I'm going to look from. I have number 1, 2, and 3 on my cheat sheet. Center needle right here. So I know that my answer is number 2. So now I take this, once again, I have to lift it up, transpose it onto the north up map. Because the radio that I have tuned into my OBS is 180, I have to pick this up and twist it 180 degrees. So my radio, 180, is right here. Since my radio is right there, this indication is going to be here. So now I know that I'm somewhere south of the Navaids. So I'm somewhere in section 7 of the north up map. We're going to do a bunch of these, so stick with me if you're having a hard time understanding this right now. It will make sense, I promise. Next, why don't we go ahead and do another cardinal heading? Why don't we do 0, 9, 0. Nice cardinal heading. We'll do a 2 flag. And there we go. So once again, we know that if we just look at the north up map, we know that the 09 radio, 090 radio, is going to be right here in quadrant 5. We know that because 090 is an east heading. So it's going to be east of the Navaid with north up. So we come over here, look at our cheat sheet, and figure out which diagram represents what we have tuned in. Once again, 2 is going to be 6, 7, or 8. Center needle, right here, number 7. So boom, we know that on our cheat sheet, which means it could be anywhere from 001 to 360, we could draw this cheat sheet 360 times, different times, and just put a different radio in this box right here. So we're going to pick this up, put it on top of this diagram, and twist it 90 degrees so that this orange line right here, which represents whatever radio that we've tuned in, is right here on the north up map. Since this is here and we've picked it up and twisted it, and we know 090 is here, and we've already determined that the 2 in center needle is number 7. When we twist it, now we know we're in quadrant number 4, which is due west of the Navaid, based on north up. All right, hopefully you're starting to get a hang of it. So let's continue. We're going to switch that same thing, cardinal heading, 090, and now we're going to put a from indication. So from, we know it's going to be either 1, 2, or 3 on our cheat sheet. Center needle, there it is, so we know it's number 2. Pick it up. Where's our radio? 090. Twist it so the 090 radio is right here. And bam, we know we're in quadrant number 5 because 2 is 5. So 2 on our cheat sheet, when we twist it, is going to be number 5, which means we are east of the Navaid. All right, let's do one more cardinal heading. Let's do 270. That way all the cardinal headings are out of the way. And we'll start with 270, 2. So that way we've got north, south, east, and west. All right, 270. So we have 270. Not worried about that right now. Let's first look at the 2 and the needle. 2 is going to be 6, 7, 8. Center needle is going to be number 7. So we know that on our cheat sheet, 7 is the answer. Now we need to figure out the orange line. We put 270 in here, so we need to pick this up on our cheat sheet, overlay it on the north up, and twist it so the radio is right here, because we know that 270 is a westerly heading, and that's a west radio. 7 is going to put me opposite of where the radio is, as you see here, opposite of the radio, which tells me if I have 270 with a 2 indication and a center needle, that I'm in quadrant 5, which means I'm east of the Navaid with north up. I'm going to pause here for a moment, just so you understand that if I'm on my aircraft, this indication on my OBS does not tell me if I'm flying this way, this way, if I'm a fighter jet and flying straight up into outer space, or maybe rocketing towards the Earth. All it tells me is geographically where I am situated with respect to the nav aid. And that's all it's doing. It's just telling me situation, because I could circle here all day long, and if I was able to circle over that one pinpoint, this needle indication would never change, and it would say 2702 with a center needle all day long if I was able to pivot directly on that one radio. And that's what I get. Most likely, obviously, as you're flying around, it's going to change a little bit. But if you were able to just stay on that one specific point, this indication would never change. So if they ask you, here's your OBS indication, what is your heading? You don't know your heading unless you actually look at your heading indicator or your compass. Heading indicator, assuming that you have it excuse me, assuming that you have it lined up and situated with your magnetic compass. Because obviously we know that deviation and precession and all that with respect to a mechanical piece of equipment. So looking at this, we know 270, OBS indicator 2, center needle, it's going to put you at 5. Now, let's switch it to a from flag. So now we have 270 from center. So we know our from indications on our cheat sheet, 1, 2, 3, center needle, 2. So on my cheat sheet, I know I'm number 2 here. Pick it up, overlay it, twist it to the radio, which is 270, and that's going to put me in number 4. And once again, number 2 here is going to put me in quadrant 4 here. So with this indication, I know I'm west of the Navaid. All right, let's continue on. Now that we've talked about the cardinal radials being put in here, what about all the other 356 different radials? Because that's just 4 of them. I could sit here all day long and do this, but we're going to talk about now 0, 4, 5. It's halfway between north and east. So 0, 4, 5, we're going to put the 2 flag, and we're going to have a center needle. Keep it simple. So we put 0, 4, 5 up here, and then we say, where's our 2? 2 is going to be 6, 7, or 8. Center needle, so we know it's going to be number 7. Now that we know it's number 7, and we know that 0, 4, 5 is the radio that we have dialed into the OBS, now we can once again pick up our cheat sheet, overlay it on north up, twist it, and figure this out. So, let me pause it right there. And continuing on. All I have is a handy dandy level, so that's what I'm using for this video. So to represent the 045 radio, I'll come over here this time. We know the 045 radio is going to put us, we'll use this side. The 0545 radio is going to put us right about there with respect to north up. So now that we know that 2 centered is going to be number 7, opposite the radio, here's our radio, the orange line, opposite the radio that I have tuned in, I know it's going to put me down here in quadrant 6. Stick with me. Remember, this does not represent north up. Our map over here represents north up with respect to whatever Navaid is dialed in. Now we're going to change it. Instead of 045 to, we're going to go 045 from. Once again, from on our cheat sheet, 1, 2, 3, center needle, number 2. So, if I take my handy dandy radio marker, and I know it's going to be number 2, it's going to be right where the radio is, 045 from center needle, north up, is going to put me in quadrant 3, northeast of the field, or northeast of the Navaid. Good. Let's switch it up. Now we're going to go halfway between east and south. So we'll just go 1, 3, 5. On the radio, we'll go 2 flag, and we'll do this together. So that way you can watch it. If it's just already too easy for you, stop the video, fast forward it, whatever you need to. But this is to help all of you out. So we're going to put 1, 3, 5, 2 flag, center. So what do? We go to the cheat sheet. We see 2 down here. Look at the cheat sheet, center needle. It's going to be 6, 7, or 8. We know it's a center needle, so we're going to go 7. 7 on here. We're going to transpose it on a 1, 3, 5. So 1, 3, 5. There's our radio, 1, 3, 5. We know it's opposite our radio because it's number 7, so it's going to put us up here in the northwest quadrant of the Navaid that we have dialed in. Easy enough. Now let's go to from. One, 3, 5 is what we have tuned in. From, center needle. From, it's going to be 1, 2, 3. On our cheat sheet, because it's a center needle, we're going to use number 2. So it's going to be right on the same radio. So once again, we come over to our north up. And you can do this on a sectional chart. You can do it just like this, however you want to do it. But anyway, there's your radio. So, radio, from, center needle. We're in quadrant 8. We are southeast of the Navaid with 1, 3, 5 from and a center needle indication with respect to the north up map. All right, a couple more to go, so stick with me if you're still having a tough time. Now we're going to do, 2, 2, 5, right? We're doing all the 45s off of in between the 2 radios. So we have south for 7 and west for number 4. So now we have 2, 2, 5, 2 flag, and a center needle. So once again, 2, 6, 7, or 8, center needle, number 7. Now that we know we're number 7, we're opposite the orange radio that we have dialed in, which is 225. We can put 225 in this orange box, represents our radio. We're going to come up here. Our radio would be represented right here. We know we're opposite the radio, so we would be in quadrant 3 with north up, which means with this dialed in, 225, 2, and center needle, we're going to be somewhere in the northeast quadrant of the Navaid. Now let's go from. Hopefully this should be getting easy for you guys. So 225 from indication. Got to make sure we're still recording. 225 from indication, center needle. So let's go ahead and put 225 radio in. Boom, right there. Go to our cheat sheet. From is 1, 2, 3. Center needle should be number 2. From 2, that's right on the radio, means we're in number 6. Number 6 is southwest quadrant. So if I have 225 dialed in and I get a from indication with a center needle, I am southwest of the Navaid that I have dialed in. All right, one more on these 45s. So now we're going to go to indication. And this time we're going to go 3, 1, 5. So 315 is the radio that I have dialed in. I put it 2 indication with a center needle. Once again, on my cheat sheet, 2, it's going to be 6, 7, or 8. Center needle, it's going to be 7. So I come up here. I know the Navaid that I have dialed in is right there. I know that I have a 2 indication, so it's going to be opposite the radio, which is going to put me down here in number 8, which means I'm southeast of the Navaid if I have 315 with a 2 indication and a center needle dialed into my OBS. Let's switch it up. We're almost done this segment. From, center needle. So from is going to be 1, 2, 3 on the cheat sheet. Center needle is going to give me number 2. So once again, with respect to north up map, there's my radio. It's going to be on the radio. So that tells me I am in quadrant number 1 with respect to the Navaid, north up, which says I am northwest of the Navaid that's dialed in. Sometimes I feel like I'm in that Willy Wonka video in the beginning of the movie when he's talking about the teacher in the classroom. Oh, I don't remember what the numbers are right now, but he's just going really fast with his numbers. And well, I can't divide that number between that because I think what Charlie only bought 1 Wonka bar. He said, well, what if you bought 100 Wonka bars? I don't know. When I'm teaching you guys this right now, that's how I'm kind of feeling. I'm feeling like that teacher a little bit. Hopefully this is making sense for you because I know I'm going kind of fast. But nice thing with YouTube is you can always rewind and watch again and slow it down if you need to. All right, so next what I want to do is I've hit the cardinals. I've hit number 2 and I've hit number 7 on our cheat sheet over and over and over again. But what about these guys? What about 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 8? I want to hit on those for a moment. So what if we are talking, or if we have that indication? So let's go ahead and go back to a cardinal heading. We're not going to start, well, let's start with 360. Why not? Keep it simple. We're going to have 360. Let's go 2, right? And we're going to have a right deflection. Now all of a sudden, 2 is going to put me at number 6. So now I have number 6 with respect to the radio that I have dialed in. Well, if we pick up our cheat sheet and overlay it on north up, 6 is going to put me in quadrant 6 because it's the north up one, because of the radio that I have tuned in. But now all of a sudden, let's switch it around. Now all of a sudden, we're going to put 180 into our OBS. We're still going to keep it a 2 needle, or sorry, a 2 flag, and we're going to have a right deflection. So if I have this, it's still going to be 2 with a right deflection. It's still going to keep me at number 6. But where does this put me on the north up is what we need to verify. Well, let's see. The 180 radio is now right here. There's the 180 radio. And the orange line, once again, represents radio. So if I pick this up and twist it around, now number 6 here on my cheat sheet is actually number 3 on my north up map. So with a 180 radio, 2 flag, and a right deflection, with respect to the Navaids, I'm going to be in quadrant 3. I'm going to be northeast of the field. So even without centering my needle, I can situationally be aware that if this is the indication that I have, that I am northeast of the Navaids, period. No matter which way I'm flying, in my mind, if I am busy with other stuff, I know that 180, 2 flag, right deflection is going to put me northeast of the Navaids. You're probably freaking out right now, so let's do it. Several more of these. And if you're already getting it, obviously pause and fast forward and whatever else you need to do. All right, now let's put it from flag. Now we have a from flag. Well, from on our cheat sheet is going to be 1, 2, or 3. Right deflection is going to be number 1. So if I put my radio in, 180 radio, there's the radio on my cheat sheet. Flip it upside down here on the north up map. Number 1 is going to correspond to number 8. So now I know that if I have 180 tuned into my OBS and I have a from flag with a right deflection, I'm going to be somewhere in the southeast quadrant of whatever Navaids that I have dialed in with respect to north up. All right, let's go 270. Another cardinal heading, correct? 270. We'll go 270 with a 2 flag. 2, right deflection. 2, 6, 7, or 8. It's going to be number 6 because of the right deflection. So we put our radio on. We know 270 radio is here. We pick up our cheat sheet, transpose it here. We know that 270 with a 2 flag, right deflection is going to be number 6 on our cheat sheet. We pick out the cheat sheet, twist it. Number 6 is going to correspond to number 8. So if I have 270 with a 2 flag and a right deflection, I know that that's going to correspond to number 8 on the north up, and that's going to tell me I am in the southeast quadrant of that Navaids that I have dialed in. Now let's switch it to a from flag. From flag. From flag is going to be 1, 2, or 3. Right deflection tells me it's going to be indication number 1 on my cheat sheet. Once again, put in the 270 radio on my north up map. 270 radio from right deflection. It's going to put me in quadrant number 1. Well, if here's the radio, there's the radio. Quadrant number 1 is going to put me right at number 6 because I had to pick it up and twist it 90 degrees this direction. So number 6, which means if I have 270 from flag and a right deflection, I'm going to be in the southwest quadrant of the Navaids. Now let's go 045. What if it's 045? And obviously we'll go 2 flag. 045 radio, as we should know, is right here. But before we get to that point, we want to figure out on our cheat sheet where this is located. So 2 with a right deflection, 2 right deflection, number 6. I put it in here, and now all of a sudden you're like, now I'm a little confused. But it's not confusing, because number 6 is going to correspond to number 4. And what do I mean by that? Now that this is my radio, number 1 would be here at number 2. Number 2 would be number 3 on the north up. Number 3 would be number 5. Now my two area of ambiguities would be 4 and 5 on my cheat sheet. 4 would be represented by number 1 because it's 90 degrees to my radio on this way. And then number 5 is 90 degrees to my radio this direction. So number 5 would be corresponding to number 8 here. And then we have 6, 7, and 8 on my cheat sheet. Oops. Well, that's good. At least I didn't mess anything up there. Just a makeshift, just to teach you guys. So let's look at number 6 on the cheat sheet. Number 6 would be number 4, if you could see that. Number 7 would be number 6 because this line would go straight through and just be opposite. And then finally, number 8 would be number 7 on my north up. And I can look at it this way. So these are my 3 from indications. These are my 3 to indications. And then these 2 would be my area of ambiguity for what we're trying to do here. Excuse me. So we said 045 is our radio. 2 right deflection is going to be number 4. Now let's twist it around. Why don't we give ourselves a left deflection? So 2 with a left deflection is going to put me down here at number 8 on my cheat sheet. So if I take my handy dandy level, which is representing my radio, there it is. 2 indication. Number 8, well, we said number 8. If I draw this line here perpendicular, it's going to be either 4, 6, or 7. And we know that 8 is going to be down here in the corner, so 8 is number 7 on the north up. So if I had this indication 045 with a 2 and a right deflection, I would be somewhere south of the Navaid. Let's do a couple more of these. Now we're going to go 1, 3, 5. We'll keep it with a 2 flag and we'll switch it up, or we'll keep it with a left deflection as well. So 2 on our cheat sheet, 6, 7, or 8. Left deflection, number 8 on our cheat sheet. Now we're going to pick this up and transpose it to the radio that we have dialed in. We know we have 135 radio dialed in. 135 radio is going to be somewhere in there. So we know if I am number 8 on my cheat sheet, 8 should put me up here at number 4. Because all I'm doing is picking this up and twisting it so that this orange line here is my level line right there. So number 8 on my cheat sheet is number 4, which means if I have a 135 indication, or 135 dialed in with a 2 flag and a left deflection, I should be somewhere west of the Navaid. Alright, now we're going to go to 2, 5. Go to our cheat sheet again. 2 flag, left deflection. 2s are going to be 6, 7, 8. And left deflection is going to be number 8. So we know we're down here with respect to the radio that we have dialed in. We know we're in quadrant 8 of our cheat sheet. Now we're going to bring our cheat sheet on top of north up. Let's find the 225 radio. It's somewhere in here. We know number 8 is going to be number 2. So if this is our indication, and we have 225 dialed in, 2 flag, left deflection, we should be somewhere north of the Navaid. Alright, one more on these 45s. Now let's go 3, 1, 5. We'll keep the 2 flag and we'll keep a left indication. So we already know 2 and left is going to give us quadrant 8 on our cheat sheet. We pick it up. We figure out where 315 is. There's the 315 radio. So when I pick it up, boom, number 8 on my cheat sheet is going to correspond to number 5, which means I'm east of the field on my north-up map. So in this configuration, number 1 on north-up is going to be represented by number 2 on the cheat sheet. Number 2 on the north-up is going to be represented by number 3 on my cheat sheet. Number 3 on the north-up is going to be directly perpendicular to the radio that I have dialed in, which means I'm going to be number 5 on my cheat sheet. Number 4 on my north-up, excuse me, number 4 is going to be represented by number 1 on my cheat sheet. Let's see, number 5 is going to be represented by, where am I at? Sorry, let's go to number 6 next. Number 6 is going to be represented by number 4 because it is perpendicular to the radio that I have tuned in. So number 4 on the cheat sheet would be number 6. Now number 7 is going to be number 6 on the cheat sheet. Directly opposite my radio is going to be number 8, which is number 7 on my cheat sheet. And finally, number 5 on north up is going to be represented by number 8 on the cheat sheet. And that's pretty much how you do it. So you work your way through this. If you have any questions, leave a comment below, and I'll see if I can better this video maybe next time, do an edit of something. But that's pretty, oh, I didn't cover 4 and 5 real quick. So let me just cover that. These two indications here on your cheat sheet are only going to happen when you have dialed in, or you're exactly 90 degrees perpendicular to the radio. So once again, if we have 360 dialed in here, it would be exactly on the 090 radio, you would get this indication, or the 270 radio, or anything with respect to that. But you're only going to get these two indications when you're exactly 90 degrees perpendicular to the radio that you have dialed in to your OBS. And finally, there's one more that you can get, indication. And what that is going to be a straight needle down with an area of ambiguity, or your to from flag flip indication. And if you get that indication, so there are technically 9 indications that you could get. If you do get that indication, you're not receiving a signal. And that's it. So I'll see you next time. Hopefully that helped you. Have a great day, and aviate higher.